Morning, everybody.
Morning, Rabbi.
This week's parsha is Parshas Eikev. There's a verse in this week's parsha that says, "V'chalta v'savata v'rachta." You should eat, you'll be satisfied, and you'll bless. And this is the source of us having the obligation that, in addition to what we do before we eat, that we make a blessing. Torah here specifically is talking about after we eat, we have to make a blessing. We have to thank Hashem. It's the blessing after the meal. That's the biblical obligation. The blessing that we make before a meal, before we eat, that's from the rabbis. They made it. They added that we should also be able to be mindful before we eat. But after eat, that's a biblical obligation when it comes to bread. V'chalta v'savata. You're satisfied. You had a real meal, so then you have an obligation to bless Hashem. So Birchas Hamazon, the blessing of after the meal, that is an obligation in the Torah. So it's interesting because when you make a blessing before you eat, okay, it's not my food. I'm coming to ask permission from Hashem. Once I ask permission from Hashem, now it's mine. Now I'm going to eat it. Now that I ate it, it's part of me. That's it. Here, even after you eat it, you still have to thank Hashem. In other words, it's a very, very interesting phenomenon that even after we eat and we internalize it and it's ours, it became part of our flesh, part of our blood. Now we're still thanking Hashem for the food that we ate. So it's a much deeper connection that even after it becomes part of you, it's still something from Hashem. So it's a very special thing to be able to do. And it's also brought down that someone that is makbid, someone that is careful with that, it's a great vessel for blessings. Because if you're able to show that whatever you internalize, you're connecting with Hashem, so you're making yourself a proper vessel for more. That's what's brought down. Now there's a story. There was once a very wealthy man. He came once to greet the Maggid of Mezrich, the second Hasidic Rebbe. He was the student of the Baal Shem Tov. He took over after the Baal Shem Tov. So the Maggid asked this rich man, "What do you eat every day?" So he says, I have a very special diet. This was before the Atkins diet. He says, I have a special diet. What do you eat? He says, I don't eat much, even though I'm very wealthy and I have money and I can buy any type of food I want. I eat like a poor man. And I satisfy myself with bread and salt. So the Maggid said, no, that's not acceptable. You have to eat every day meat and drink wine like all the rich men. You cannot have that. So after he left, this Hasidim asked the Rebbe, what was that? What was the point of that? So he says, the truth of the matter is it makes no difference what he eats. But if he's going to be satisfied as a rich man with bread and salt, so then he's going to say, I'm a rich man. I'm only eating bread and salt. What is a poor man? He doesn't eat anything. I don't have to give him anything. But if he's eating bread and wine and meats and potatoes and all the other good stuff, so then he'll at least give something to the poor man. So everybody has to know their place. You got to know your place. You got to know what it is that you have to do. But this is a very, very important thing also, that when you v'chalta v'savata berachta, you also not only just thanking Hashem for your food, but it gives you a real mindset that everything you have really belongs to Hashem. And if everything you have really belongs to Hashem, you will utilize it. You will use it properly. So the benching really sets the tone for us in many, many different ways. May we all be able to eat well, may we be able to serve Hashem well, and may we all be blessed. B'karev mamish. Amen.